When's the last time you heard some good news? How did you feel to receive it? And were you ever in a situation where everyone around you doubted you, but you stayed certain of your point of view? Were you proven right in the end? In this episode, we open a conversation about the moment when the shirt of Yusuf alayhi salam is brought to his father, Yaqub alayhi salam. The truth is brought to light, and Yaqub alayhi salam regains his lost sight. This is Quran Conversations, the podcast for anyone who wishes to unlock the meaning and healing power of the Quran. I'm your host, Dalia Mogahed, an author, researcher, and a student of the Quran. I'll be in conversation with one of my dearest teachers, Imam Muhammad Majid, a scholar of the Quran and longtime family counselor and congregational leader. If you're enjoying this podcast, please review it on your podcasting platform. It helps us more than you know. Quran Conversations is sponsored by Fawakih, an online learning platform for Quranic Arabic that I myself use. Start your journey in unlocking the language of the Quran. Go to fawakih.org. We hope this podcast encourages your own reflective journey with the Quran. Make sure to stay until the end to hear this week's reflection prompt. For more spiritual insights, follow me on Instagram at Dalia Mogahed. Without further ado, let's dive into the episode. This episode covers ayahs 93 to 98 in Surat Yusuf. Assalamu alaikum. This is Dalia Mogahed, your host for Quran Conversations, and I'm joined with, of course, my teacher, Imam Muhammad Majid. How are you, Imam?
How are you? Alhamdulillah, Sister Dalia. It's good to be with you again.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be with you. We're going to get right back to Surat Yusuf and continue on this journey. We are starting with ayah 93. So, Sheikh, please go ahead and read.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأتي بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين.
Take my shirt and lay it over my father's face. He will recover his sight. Then bring your whole family back to me. So this is the turning point of the whole story, where he has confronted his brothers. He has forgiven them. They have acknowledged their mistake. And now the moment that he has literally been waiting for since his childhood, which is the possible reunification with his father. And look at the parallel, look at this beautiful symmetry where he says, take my shirt and it will bring back my father's sight, where they brought his shirt the first time when they put him in the well. And it was the beginning of the grief, that shirt, that fake blood, that was the beginning of the grief that caused the blindness of his father. Now it's the same article of clothing, but now with truth instead of falsehood that will now allow him to see.
That's beautiful. As we said before, there are three shirts in the story.
Mm-hmm.
The shirt of the conspiracy called Qamis al-Mu'amara. And the shirt of al-Bara'a, the innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And the shirt of Bishara, glad tiding. But the first two shirts represent abusive relationship.
SubhanAllah.
The third one is a shirt of freedom, of control, because he says in the first two incident, the qamis being referred to as وجاءوا على قميصه بدم كذب. They brought a false blood on his shirt, on his shirt. Now, the second, in kana qamisuhu, his shirt. But now he said qamisi, now in control. Now I give my shirt willingly. Now my shirt is something that I represent me. Although that shirt was represented the abusive relationship between him and the wife of Al-Aziz, and she destroyed that shirt, but becomes still the evidence of his innocent. The other shirt, it was a lie about his death. Now, he said, he's talking to his brother. Do you remember my shirt? Now I'm giving you my shirt, the real shirt. Idhabu biqamisi. Take my shirt to him. You took my shirt before of me, and you presented as if I was eaten by the wolf. But now, it's different. I'm going to tell you what that shirt represents. It represents liberation. Represent elevation. Allah elevated him. And mercy and compassion. Idhabu biqamisi hada. Because when you brought my shirt to him, you brought sadness to him. Now take my shirt to him, you can bring happiness to him. That's what you could have written a letter. You could have give them perfume, said, go and let him smell this perfume, he will be able to see me. You can give them anything. Why the shirt? Because the first shirt of decades ago that caused all of this pain, the shirt of a lie. Now, idhabu biqamisi hada فألقه على وجه أبي يأتي بصيرا. He didn't say يرتد بصيرا. يأتي بصيرا, because some scholars saying that يأتي بصيرا, the shirt bring his sight back, or he will come to me with his sight being restored, ability to see me. Subhanallah, he wants his father to be able to see him. He doesn't want his father to be blind. He's been deprived for seeing him for a long time. The reunion cannot be, he couldn't see him. يأتي بصيرا. Then he said, وَأْتُونِي بِأَهْلِكُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. He mentioned the father alone, and then mentioned everyone else, to honor the father who has the most pain. يأتي بصيرا, he will come to me, be able to see me, or he will regain his sight. Then وَأْتُونِي بِأَهْلِكُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Then bring me all the family reunion, bring them back to me. So it is amazing that how Yusuf alayhi salam remembered the idea of the shirt. You know, he could have said, take my turban, or take my kufi, take anything. But the shirt. اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأتي بصيرا. Put it on his face. Because they put the other shirt on his face, lying, saying to him, look, the wolf have eaten him. Now, no. Go and put it on his face, and that will bring his sight back.
Subhanallah, there's a couple things you said that really struck me. The first thing is the 3 occasions where the shirt comes up, and the way that you referred to them. And it occurs to me that the shirt in all 3 was still a symbol of truth, despite their effort. It was the shirt that made Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam know that they were lying, know that Yusuf had not been eaten by a wolf, because the shirt was intact. So the shirt bore witness to the truth despite their efforts to the contrary.
Yes.
The second time, the shirt also was the evidence of his innocence. Again, it bore witness to the truth despite the lies of the wife of Al-Aziz.
Yes.
And then the third way, it was the same thing, where يأتي بصيرا, literally, of course, so that he might regain his sight, or he might come to me with his sight. But it could also mean so that he may see the truth of the fact that I'm alive, so that he can see the truth of this matter. And it's as if his shirt is this flag of truth. Always, despite the conspiracy and despite the efforts of his adversaries, always bearing witness to the truth of the matter. And I, even taking that analogy a bit further, sometimes, sure, we talk about, in the Quran, it talks about clothing as symbols of things, right?
Yes,
like,
yes.
The best provision is taqwa. Sometimes the cloak of taqwa, or spouses are referred to as, a libas for each other, which is a protection.
Yes.
And it's like, when you reflect on what is the symbol of this shirt in this story, what is it that it keeps coming up? Why this literary instrument of the shirt over and over? And it could be so many things. And my reflection on it is, it's the ihsan of Yusuf, which he wears all the time. It's the thing that he keeps, that people can see, and that protects him, because that's what a shirt is. It's a protection for you, and it's what people see in you. And his ihsan each time speaks the truth about him.
That's beautiful. وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ.
Yes.
The garment of taqwa. This is very beautiful, that talk about the symbolism of clothing and shirt. And the manifestation of someone's faith, it is in their actions. But you said that, which is beautiful, the inward and outward of Yusuf are connected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Therefore, his garment, which is the outward, have connected to the taqwa, the garment of taqwa. Therefore, in those three places, he was consistent. First, he was test, was patience, and here he was tempted, and he resisted. And the third, he did ihsan, by and compassion and care about his father. Subhanallah, it is important that for all of us to think that the inner state is more important, and it can present itself than in outward behavior, in our behavior, because sometimes we get obsessed with the garment,
right,
the clothing, and sometimes we don't take care of the inner state. But Yusuf alayhi salam, in and out, that because his inward was good state, Allah made his garment, with the physical aspect of it, reflect that state. Subhanallah, it's so beautiful. One of the things that you have to think about is that how also people associate culture and dignity and identity with clothing.
Yes.
They said that Imam Ali, Karamallah wajhu, saw a man dragging his garment on the floor and walking like Pika, like very arrogant.
Right.
And Imam Ali said, this kind of walk Allah does not like. And he said, do you know who I am? Imam Ali said, I know who you are. He said, who am I? He said, you are the person that his beginning was small liquid, drop of liquid, and his end will be a dead body. And while he was alive, has the need to relieve himself. That's who you are.
You're a human being. Yeah.
Yeah, he put him in his place. Yeah.
Yeah. And I it's exactly what you said about our garments, like, reflect our identity, reflect our values sometimes. Uniforms are there for a reason. They're actually to also remind the person, supposed to remind the person of what they stand for. The reason, we dress modestly, the reason there's hijab and there's modesty for both men and women is to remind ourselves of our own identity and the conduct that we should be upholding. And it also tells you in this example that when you wear the cloak of taqwa, when you live in an authentic, true way, your truth will come out eventually. even if others lie about you, the truth of who you are, of your character, will show in the end. Your cloak of taqwa will bear witness to you.
Absolutely.
Like this shirt keeps doing for Yusuf, like this reappearing symbol of truth, basically, always manifesting in his favor. I think that, you know, the shirt is something that we talk about a lot in any tafsir or any discussion of Surah Yusuf, and I thought that we really should dig into this symbol more than you know, just saying that it was something that, you know, in this third example, that brought back the sight of Yaqub alayhi salam, but it made him see the truth. And likewise, we can all learn from that in our own lives, that if we wear our authentic truth, if we stand with our principles and our values, the truth of our character will shine through despite any slander that might be hurled against us or false accusations.
And this is beautiful. You know, I guess it came to my mind the symbolism of clothing. Like sometimes, like we have someone who loved to pass away, and we keep a particular garment of them or something like that. I remember a lady that knew my father. She used to be working. She was working in the same apartment building, and my father passed away, and she was not Muslim, and she became Muslim afterwards. We have given her Quran. She was a hair cutter lady. We didn't cut our hair with her, but she gave her Quran. She accepted Islam. Later, she came and saw me in the office, and she said, "Oh, you are the one who gave me the Quran." I said, "Yeah." She said, "You didn't ask me what happened after that. I became Muslim." And then she said, "Yeah. There's a very, amazing story that we just want to cut hair, and then we did not cut hair. And the guy with me said we should give her Quran. We want to put Yusuf Ali." And then you see after that, 2 years I sit in my office in DC. She walked into the masjid and she saw me. She screamed, said, "You are the one." And then she asked me after we, subhanallah, she said that she was carrying, she read the Quran. We gave it to her. She read it all night. And she decided to become Muslim by herself. And she fasted and went to High Street Library and she got the book about Islam. And she said to me, "I remember your father used to come in and out and wearing a turban and clothing and so forth. I'm here today. I didn't know I'm going to see you here to get married, and my fiancée accepted Islam, and I would like you to officiate the marriage wearing the clothes of your father. The clothes look like your father." And subhanAllah, I had my father's turban, and I wore my father's turban to officiate that wedding.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, yes, I have the picture of it to show to my children.
That's amazing.
Yes, and my father gave me a turban, and he used to wear, and my stepmother made a special decoration on it for him. I wore that and officiated their wedding, and it was a beautiful wedding that I've seen. The cultural manifestation of how they celebrated that their wedding. But they asked me to wear a Sudanese robe and a turban. Therefore, I cherish those symbols of my father with me. Therefore, I can tell that many people who they may have grief and they have lost loved one, cherish those symbols in your home. Maybe a piece of cloth of your mother or your father, or maybe a book your father or mother gave you, maybe a notebook, maybe even a pen. It reminds you to make dua for them. There's a symbolism on that.
Would you like to read the next ayah, please?
ولما فصلت العير قال أبوهم إني لأجد ريح يوسف لولا أن تفندون.
Later, when the caravan departed, their father said, "You may think I am senile, but I can smell Yusuf." So I wanted to just first start by saying that the word in Arabic isn't smell Yusuf. It's ajidu. La ajidu. Riha Yusuf. So I have encountered, or I have found it's not, there's a different word for smell, which is, shamit. But he doesn't say he smelled. He said he has experienced the smell of Yusuf. And it points to the fact that he is experiencing this scent with all his faculties, with his eyes, with his heart, with his nose, with his ears, with his skin. La ajidu, I found it, I am encountering it, I am experiencing it. This was a much bigger experience than simply a scent that he's smelling with his nose. And the other thing about scent is we know that scent is the sense that is most closely connected, to emotion, to memory. It's the scent that has the shortest distance to the brain and the center of emotion. So, like you said, he could have seen something like a letter. He could have, there are other ways of sort of giving him the information that Yusuf alayhi salam was alive, but he chose his shirt, and it was the scent from the shirt that triggered this awareness that Yusuf was there, that he was alive.
That's beautiful. He said, وَلَمَّا فَصَلَتِ الْعِيرُ قَالَ أَبُوهُمْ إِنِّي for sure لَأَجِدُ رِيحَ يُوسُف. For sure, no doubt, I'm smelling Yusuf. Yeah. I'm getting overtaken by the smell of Yusuf. I don't know if we have said this before in one of the episodes, but there's a physical senses and there's a spiritual senses. Sometimes you see things with your eye, sometimes you see things with your heart.
Right.
With your basira, sometimes with your basar. Matter of fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. They have ear, but they couldn't hear with them. لَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. They have eyes, but they cannot see with them. لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. They have hearts, but they cannot comprehend with them. Therefore, the Quran talks about the lack of presence. But this so intense love and this spiritual insight that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to the Yusuf Yaqub alayhi salam is so intense love he can smell, Yusuf alayhi salam before the shirt have arrived to him. And sometimes people ask about possible things are possible, logically possible or not. Let me tell you something that one of the Sahaba radhiyallahu alayhim was dying after Uhud. Rasulullah said, can somebody check on him? Find him for me. They found him in the last moment of his life. They told him, Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah is asking about you. How are you feeling? He said, قُولُوا لَهُ إِنِّي لَأَجِدُ رِيحَ الْجَنَّةِ دُونَ أُحُدٍ. I'm smelling paradise. And he was dying. إِنِّي أَجِدُ رِيحَ الْجَنَّةِ. I'm smelling paradise. So you can smell things that other people will not smell around you. That's called spiritual senses. There's someone will hear the Quran, two people will hear the same verse, but somebody hear it differently.
Yes.
They hear it with their heart. That is spiritual senses. You have an orphan, and somebody may push the orphan, somebody will touch the orphan. Both of them use their hand, but there's spiritual touch.
Right.
Therefore, even in sujood, when you touch those 7 points, there's some people be grounded. You feel being ground is grounding for them. Being grounding for them. And the other people, just a physical move. And a taste. The Rasulullah said, ثلاث من كن فيه وجد حلاوة الإيمان. وجد also word وجد. 3 things if a person had them, will experience the sweetness of faith. وجد حلاوة. And the word sweetness usually refers to tongue. Taste with your tongue. But there's a taste of the heart. There's a taste, but of the heart. ذوق, they call it ذوق. But the ذوق of the heart. You feel something that's so sweet. You don't like to place it with anything else. For Yusuf Yaqub alayhi salam has spiritual senses. He said he smelled Yusuf alayhi salam. Inni la'ajidu riha Yusuf. I can smell Yusuf. But he says, I'm worried that you might gonna call me like a person lost his mind, have dementia, he doesn't remember anything. I'm telling you experience the tips. I know you might not believe me. True. They didn't believe him.
Yeah.
As you see in the next verse. But subhanAllah, that how many people have experienced a spiritual experience that people sometimes not people relate to. That's why Imam Ghazali said there's certain things you don't talk about them. You experience it yourself, keep it to yourself, because people are not going to believe you.
I just heard a story just last weekend. I was at an event for Gaza. It was for medical professionals who came back from the field, and they were telling stories about what they saw in Gaza as doctors. And one story really affected me, and it was a picture. They had a photograph of this young man. He was only 19 years old, and he had sat and read the whole Quran from cover to cover, like something very difficult to do. And he was doing it. He was actually a medical student, and he did that in the hospital with bombs raining down, like in the war zone. And he sat after Fajr and just went and read, didn't get up, didn't stop until he would get up for his salah, but he went from Fajr until like Asr, and went through the entire Quran from cover to cover, 19 years old. And the doctor who was telling the story asked him, like, how can you do that? How can you sit and have this focus and concentration and stamina? Most of the time reading one juz is a chore, but he read 30 ajza all in one sitting. And his response is, Man dhaqa araf. That's it. The one who's tasted knows.
Yes.
There's nothing, I can't explain it to you. If you don't, it's like, it's this spiritual sensing where, yes, you have access to a different sense than others. A different taste.
Beautiful story.
Yeah. SubhanAllah.
That's why sometimes they say Imam Shafi'i read the whole Quran at night. People said, how? It takes 10 hours to read it, literally. Just 20 minutes. But Allah put barakah on these people also, and put that sweetness in their heart. SubhanAllah.
Let's go ahead and read the next ayah, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan.
قالوا تالله إنك لفي ضلالك القديم.
But people said, by God, you are still lost in that old illusion of yours. So it's that this translation is that people said. It also, of course, could be that the brothers who responded to him in this way. But he's being criticized for still believing that Yusuf alayhi salam could come back. I was always intrigued by this ayah because I always read it as the brothers responding this way when they actually, in fact, know that Yusuf alayhi salam is alive. So why would they maintain this denial of it? I guess this new interpretation of saying just people in general were saying this explains it.
And this is some interpretations said those are the grandchildren.
The grandchildren
have the grandchildren, and those who were around him, those have not seen Yusuf alayhi salam and so forth, because the children they are in the trip, and they're coming back with a shirt.
I see. They haven't even arrived yet.
They have not arrived yet. And therefore, he mentioned that to the people around him and his grandchildren, and those brothers have lied to their children that their uncle is dead, because they have to. You see, in order for a person to maintain a lie, they have to repeat it.
Yes.
For they told grandchildren as well and people that Yusuf alayhi salam is dead, that those who are the people around him says, you continue mentioning this. When are you going to stop? You're still hoping that's going to come. ففي ضلالك القديم. The word dalal, by the way, could be misguidance or misinformation. The person, like if you get lost, for example, driving towards your home or the place, and GPS is off, and you went around, it's called dalal. ضليت الطريق. I lost my way to home. But they said, you keep doing this. The dalal here is not the dalal of going out of faith. Dalalik al-qadim, it means you're still living this misconception, misunderstanding, and an illusion that he's still alive.
So just to clarify, or to make sure that folks understand, he encountered the scent of Yusuf before the brothers arrived.
Yes.
They were still not there yet, and yet the scent had already reached him, and he said, I'm experiencing this scent. And so the people around him said, what are you talking about? You're still living in your old illusion.
Yes.
The next day we can go to it,
This I would like all of us to just to think about the tajweed of this ayah. فلما أن جاء البشير ألقاه على وجهه فارتد بصيرا قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون.
Then when the bearer of good news came and placed the shirt onto Yaqub's face, his eyesight returned, and he said, Did I not tell you that I have knowledge from God that you do not have? Please, Sheikh, talk about the tajweed that you were mentioning.
This like low, it's called slow emotions. فلما أن جاء البشير, like you can see like in movie like this, like anticipation, like slow music. The Bashir, the person bringing the news.
It's like this drawn out.
أن جاء البشير, because he smelled it from distant,
right?
And the person bring the news, glad tidings, is not there yet. Then the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and when the glad tidings, like just this amazing way, the emphasis of this coming of al-Bashir. Then alqahu ala wajhihi, put it on his face. Now when he comes, we're so excited, al-Bashir. Immediately, ألقاه على وجهه فارتد بصيرة. Then immediately he can his sight. Like really can feel it. They said that Sheikh al-Shinqiti, rahimahullah, the man who wrote the tafsir of Adwa al-Bayan, tafsir al-Quran bil-Quran, is a book about tafsiring or interpretation of the Quran by the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
They said when he used to recite Quran, people understand the meaning from the way he reciting it. He put emphasis, like he raised his voice in places and lowered his voice in other places. Therefore, you can understand the meaning if you know the Arabic just from the recitation of this man. But it's so beautiful, فلما أن جاء البشير. It's very beautiful how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described. فارتد بصيرة. And then when he said, ألم أقل لكم إني, I am the one knows about Allah what you don't know.
It's beautiful to read the tajweed this way, as if the trip was so elongated. It was like, it felt like in slow motion, how long it took, symbolizing how long the journey was for this moment. And then as soon as he arrived, it was this immediate punctuated language around, he put it on his face and immediately he regained his sight. And sometimes it's beautiful because it also shows us sometimes the opening or the solving of a problem or a situation feels like it is taking so long, this elongated time of the struggle, the hardship, the anticipation for an opening. And when it comes, it's so fast. It's like it just immediately opens, and it's this like dam has opened and it gushes out. The solution and the glad tidings and the relief feel like so quick and overpowering.
Yes. SubhanAllah.
And this is captured in these few words in this ayah, subhanAllah, this human experience.
And then he made his case to them. He said, didn't I tell you so? Didn't I tell you that I know from Allah what you don't know? Because he said to them before, and then he de-emphasized now, Inni a'lamu min Allah ma la ta'lamu. My experience of Allah is different than yours. I know what what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do more than you do. I have this conviction and shakable belief.
Mm-hmm.
And this, by the way, that some scholar says that there's ilm of Allah theological, tawheed, theoretical, and there's the knowledge of Allah you gain through having a relationship with Allah.
Yes.
There's some people that tawakkul, that trust in Allah, is different than others. Why people accept Islam by seeing Gaza?
Yeah.
Because the Ghazan shows a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that other people don't experience it. Like that's not written in Quran. أعلم من الله ما لا. I know about Allah. I know from Allah the thing that you don't know. Because that experience knowledge. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. قالوا الاطمئنان علم. That the serenity is a form of knowledge. You know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you feel the serenity in your heart. أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. When a person been tested with calamity in their life, and they know exactly Allah is all just, Allah is all merciful. Then people say, why this person behaving differently than the other people? Because يعلم من الله ما لا يعلم, أو تعلم, a woman or a man, about Allah that other people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And believing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compensate also for the difficulty a person may have in life. هذه الثقة في الله, the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ulama said that whoever doubted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a Razzaq, is the Al-Wahhab, the bestower, the one who provides sustenance and provision. Doubting that, doesn't know who Allah is. Ar-Rahman fas'al bihi khabira. Allah, ask somebody who knows him.
Right.
About him. Because this is we call this experiential knowledge, come out of experience. Textbooks doesn't teach that. No textbook teach you the nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You gain that through the experience. They tell you things to do or not to do. They teach you the obstacles and the hurdles, but you will not experience this unless you seek it. You seek that relationship with Allah. And when he said, وَأَعْلَمُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, that means all of this time when he was grieving, Allah was his comfort. وَأَعْلَمُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ.
I have knowledge from Allah that you do not have.
You don't know. You don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about the surah is what I'll call the closing of circles. That the beginning will say, Allah will make a promise to Yusuf when he's in the bottom of the well, you're going to confront your brothers. And then pages and pages later, he confronts his brothers exactly as Allah has promised. And this is another closing of a circle where Yaqub, even in the depth of his grief, knew in his heart from knowledge that Allah gave him that he will see his son again. And then here he is encountering his scent and seeing his shirt. There are so many places where there's this closing of a loop where Allah keeps his promise over and over. Like Allah is a promise keeper. Allah's promise is true. And there's this list of promises kept by Allah throughout this surah, which gives us this hope. Allah's promise is true. And when he says that the victory of Allah is near, that's a true promise.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. Let's do the next ayah, inshallah.
Now they're telling the brothers are with their father, and they said the following to their father. قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا إنا كنا خاطئين.
The brothers said, Father, ask God to forgive our sins. We were truly in the wrong. Now, making their amends with their own father after they've done so with Yusuf alayhi salam. This is a moment of true reckoning, having to face the lies that they have said and asking for forgiveness.
You see, they asked their father to forgive them, but in the very transforming, approach.
Yeah,
they've been transformed. As you see in this ayah, قالوا يا أبانا, oh our father, يا أبانا, you are our father, استغفر لنا ذنوبنا. طيب, what did you make istighfar of your own?
Right.
What sin that you asking for? They asked their father to forgive them of the sin that committed against him.
Right.
Because they brought sadness to him,
right.
brought grief to him. استغفر لنا ذنوبنا.
Stole his son from him.
Yes. They asked him to ask Allah for forgiveness. And here they're telling their father, we made the U-turn. We're coming back to Allah. Therefore, we ask you to ask Allah to forgive us for what we have wronged you with. Because if he asks Allah to forgive them, that he have forgiven them himself. It's very interesting. He didn't ask, oh, our Father, forgive us. استغفر لنا ذنوبنا. Ask Allah to forgive us of our sins. And here this appeal made to the father after the truth prevailed.
Right.
After the father gained his side. After his father made his case by telling them, أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكُمْ, have I not told you? I told you before. إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ, I know from Allah the thing that you don't know. Then they asked for this istighfar, but they said, Inna kunna khati'in. For sure, with no doubt, we were wrong. Which is, you do not ask me to forgive you if you are not admitting what you have done wrong.
Right. Or that you were wrong.
And they specifically said, for sure, was no doubt we were wrong. Inna kunna khati. They could say inna khati. No, inna kunna. We were a long time doing the wrong thing. So this is the request. What the father now, who have been for decades in sadness, looking for his son. Now, two sons. Now that the sign that the son is alive have arrived. Good news have came to him. The children admitting they're wrong. Imagine that in the living room. Maybe there's some crying there, some remorse. I don't know how it looked like that moment. Can you imagine after 30 years, 40 years, there's a confession about somebody have wronged somebody in the family that just right in the open. One of the scholars was talking about a young man told him that our father was very abusive to us, hit us all the time and so forth. And when we get married and have children, when he visit us at home, he see us kissing our children, hugging our children. One day the father wrote them a letter to all the children. He said, I see how you treat your children. I want to apologize to you. How I mistreated you, how abusive I was, and so forth. He taught me a lesson that you didn't come, you don't turn out to be like me. But now I'm asking you for forgiveness.
Wow.
Yes. Now those people they see the truth prevail, and they ask the father for forgiveness. Let's see how the father reacts.
I just wanted to say that they committed such a grave crime, incredibly serious wrongdoing. They really were so. I mean, their crime is almost unforgivable, right? In our normal life, and yet they found the courage to ask for forgiveness and ask their father to ask Allah to forgive them, and they admit that they were wrong. Why I say that is, if you have done something you regret and you feel too much shame to ask for forgiveness, remember this story and remember how heavy this sin was, how harmful it was, how much harm they committed, they inflicted on their brother and on their father. And yet it wasn't so much that they couldn't come back and repent, show remorse, and ask for forgiveness. And so in the same way, whatever it is that you did, there is a path back. And this story shows that. It's a story of hope also for the wrongdoers.
That's beautiful.
Don't let your shame prevent you from asking for forgiveness, even if the person... Yeah, humble yourself. Don't allow shame to weigh you down and keep you from asking, from admitting your wrongs and asking for forgiveness. Even if the person doesn't forgive you, even if the person rejects it, you will feel an incredible relief when you do that, when you humble yourself and admit your wrong, you admit your wrongdoing.
Yeah. Maybe we'll conclude with this verse. Yeah, today, the coming verse. قال سوف أستغفر لكم ربي إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
He replied, I shall ask my Lord to forgive you. He is the most forgiving, the most merciful. SubhanAllah. What's implied, of course, in this ayah is how much rahmah Yusuf, Yaqub alayhi salam needed to have in order to make this statement, in order to forgive his sons. And what he's reminding us is he's embracing and reflecting the quality of Allah that he is surrendering to. So he's surrendering and revealing the mercy of Allah, and in so doing, he's modeling the human version of that mercy.
That's beautiful that he ensured them he's gonna make a istighfar to them, but at the same time, he, the amazing things about this whole idea that Yusuf alayhi salam, he said to them, I will, Yaqub alayhi salam said, I will do this istighfar, but not now, not immediately. There's two interpretations of this.
Okay.
Is that you don't demand the forgiveness immediately. Forgive me now, forgive me now. Give me time to process it. That's one interpretation. That's so fast. I would do it on my own time. Or don't demand me now. Maybe give me space. This one interpretation. The second interpretation, that Yaqub alayhi salam delayed the istighfar for the best time of istighfar. Some scholars said he delayed it to the last third of the night. Said, I will do today, my tahajjud, not now.
I see.
I want to be prepared emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and have intense istighfar to ask Allah to forgive me. Therefore, if you take the first one, you should give people a space. Because we said before, forgiveness is not the switch you turn on and off.
Right.
It's sometimes a process of forgiveness. Part of this acknowledgement, and it happened, acknowledgement took place now twice. They acknowledged to Yusuf alayhi salam, now we acknowledge to the father. Therefore, they go into this process of acknowledging the pain that they have caused to Yusuf and to Yaqub alayhi salam. The second, they realize is not only a punishment that be given for the wrongdoing by lying and so forth, but to the hurt and the harm they have done to their father. That's why they asked him to do istighfar. That is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is that when you forgive from the bottom of your heart. Forgive in the most way. Do ihsan in forgiveness. Like they say, okay, I forgive them, but I'm going to do more forgiving of them when I do my umrah. Allah, forgive my father, forgive my mother, forgive my brothers, forgive. You ask for forgiveness because if you do so, in those spiritual moments, there's a sense of also serenity come to your heart and cleansing the heart and purify the heart from the grudge. Because you are in spiritual high. If you make the forgiveness in the night of 27th of Ramadan, for everyone have wronged, subhanAllah. But if you make it while in the traffic, maybe it's good too, but it's not the same. That it has to be, a person have to process in a way that it really impact them positively and remove the grudge and holding the grudge for a long time from their heart. For the father here, they said maybe he led istighfar until the sahar. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ينزل ربنا كل ليلة إذا كان الثلث الآخر لسماء الدنيا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come every night to lower heaven and the third of the night. And he said, is there anyone seeking forgiveness, I can forgive them. So anyone who asking me anything, I can grant them. But they said, that's one of the Mufassirin, they said he delayed to the third of the night.
That's very beautiful. I mean, the highest form of forgiveness is to ask Allah to forgive the one who wronged you. This is the most complete forgiveness, the most excellent, beautiful type of forgiveness. And it is the one that gives you the greatest serenity, the deepest cleansing. That's what he's embodying and that's what he's modeling. And while if you've been harmed, you are not actually obligated to forgive.
Yes.
But if you can, it will release such a heavy burden from your heart that it's about expelling a poison, actually, from your own heart. And when you can ask for forgiveness for the person who harmed you, that is truly the ihsan of forgiveness, the excellence and beauty of the ultimate forgiveness. So this is a good place to end. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Imam Majid.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful journey with me.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation, and if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Share this episode with others who may be interested in the meaning of the Quran. Also, we love hearing from our listeners. Please tell us your reflections at Quran Conversations, our Instagram page. We read every single one. Finally, we hope this podcast encourages your own reflective journey with the Quran. This week's reflection prompt is: Yusuf alayhi salam was lied about in several parts of his story, but his shirt always was evidence of the truth of the matter. What do you think the shirt symbolizes? Until next time, keep reflecting on the Quran. Assalamu alaikum.